Welcome to this week's edition of the Three Stooges Coaches Show. I'm Dale Kuyath with the Sports Scoop. Joining me are my regular Stooges, Ted Hammond, head boys basketball coach at JWP, and Joel Hayford, head softball coach and head girls basketball coach at Waseca. And Hafe, maybe we'll talk about that first. You just recently were named the new head girls basketball coach for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's a position that actually, coaching with Ted for about 12 to 13 years at the B squad level, it was the first head position I'd ever applied for back several years ago. Actually applied for it one other time after that, and the job came open. And of course, I live in Owatonna. My girls go to Owatonna High School, and my younger daughter said, "Hey, Dad, you should apply for that." And I said, "Well, honey, how would that work out?" And she said, "Well, I'll move over there with you, and I can play back in Waseca again." So I left it alone, and later on, her and Mom came and says, "Yeah, you go ahead and do that. We can make that work." And Courtney will finish her year out at Owatonna, her senior year, and you can play in Waseca. So applied for it, and I don't know that many people really did apply for the position, so I guess I was all they were looking at, and look forward to doing that and coaching with the girls this summer, and getting back into coaching basketball. I'd coached basketball for about 24 years at some way, shape, or form, and hadn't for the past couple of years. And I do enjoy coaching all the sports, but basketball is truly one of my loves to coach. So it's good to be back in the coaching seat in the winter season.
Well, I'm sure one of the things that they considered is that you survived a few years as Ted's assistant, and knowing all that you'll pick up, motivational techniques and others.
Absolutely, and it was, all kidding aside, it was fun as a young guy to come in and to get into a program right away while somebody had some experience. And I did learn a lot from Ted of what to do and what not to do.
And I've learned a lot from Hafe on what to do and what not to do. And no kidding aside, I've got 15 stitches in my forehead up here from an elbow when we were playing on the same team together. So I pity those girls teams out there. There are going to be some post players. It's going to be real physical coming up in the upcoming season.
Well,
so good luck, Hafe.
And I'm feeling a little sorry for myself, because in the winter I've got to deal with two head basketball coaches now. So I guess that'll be our primary influence.
Yeah, and you'll probably get parents calling you too. It's unreal.
Hafe, let's look at the softball team. You were the last area team to go down, and you were over in the section tournament supposedly Tuesday, got postponed to Wednesday, and maybe take us through that game.
Yeah, well, last year we were defending section champions, made a state trip, hoping we could do it again this year. Knew we had a couple of pretty good players that were gone from the previous season, that we needed to produce some offense. We made it down to the final four teams. LeSueur Henderson, we played them. And once again, I said produce runs. We couldn't score a run against LeSueur Henderson. They beat us 1-0. And Coach Collins was on first base, and we picked up their pitches right away. So we knew what pitches were coming, and they like to throw a lot of changeup. So we even knew when the changeup was coming. And we did hit a couple ropes right at people, but we just didn't find holes. They made a couple of good defensive plays, so they kept us off the board, and they get a run late to end our season 1-0. It was a good season for us, 16-6. The girls have strung together a good number of seasons. We're going to lose two very decent pitchers, Danny Collins and Casey DeVos, who have been 4-year starters for us and have pretty much split the duties throughout the year. Going to be tough to replace. We're going to start out with a young crew again next year, a couple of sophomore pitchers, and we move back to 43 feet. So we'll take we'll have some growing pains next year, but it's been a good run with a good group of seniors. And we're going to be having the sports award recognition banquet coming up here, and it's going to be there's a lot of records that were broken by these two girls because of the fact they played for 4 years, and you get those career totals are amazing. One really amazing feat I feel this year, Casey DeVos, during the season, she had an earned run average of 0.48 for the entire season, which breaks an old record by Betsy Collins. Now, understandably, Betsy did that over 24 games, and Casey did it over 14 games. So quite a difference, but still, to only have a 0.48 earned run average is very good. So that softball, a pitcher can be very dominating.
You've gone 35-12 the last 2 years on the diamond with the Lady Jays, and I know you're going to take quite a hit with some seniors. You had 6, 7, 8 seniors. Maybe quickly give us a little recap of what you're looking for next year.
Well, our 2 sophomore pitchers, well, they pitched as freshmen this year on the B squad level. Abby Collins and Caitlin Miller, they're going to be most likely our 2 pitchers. We're going to be young. We've got some other young kids coming up that maybe have to fill some infield positions. Our big thing is we just need to produce some offense. So I think with some emphasis in the weight room this summer certainly could help, and just building that strength and speed is something that we're going to have to do, because in any sport, you know, the speed is amazing. You know, I don't care what sport it is. Even in softball, beating out that throw to first base or getting stolen bases. That's one thing LeSueur did well against us, is they moved kids around, they stole some bases and put themselves in scoring position, and you make a mistake and you're going to get that opportunity to score that run and maybe win a game by 1 run.
You have in your regular lineup, you'll have Ulfers, Kruger, Preeb, Barry, 4 people that played for you all year long back. Will they be expected to carry your offensive punch at the start of the year, or do you have some young kids that you know are going to swing the bats?
Well, yeah, they are going to definitely, you know, have to. And our punch this year was maybe a little jab, but not a big offensive punch. So yeah, they're going to have to step it up. There are some young kids that had some decent seasons at the 9th grade level and B squad level, but to go to the
jump.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to go to that varsity level, people don't realize that somebody who is just dominating down that B squad level, and now all of a sudden you're facing varsity pitching. It's just a big difference, and that's why you even look at the college level and somebody who's playing D3, and to go face D1 pitching, or those guys that think that they're major leaguers, to go in and face those guys in the major leagues, it's totally amazing unless you've been there and you've seen it and experienced it. The skill level as you go up is it's fun to see.
Teddy, besides Hafe,
Yep.
we do know already of another new basketball coach in the area, and that will be Big John Schultz at NRHEG with the girls program, who's jumping back in after an 11-year hiatus.
I remember a guy named Tom Berg over at St. Peter did the same thing. He and I we started out coaching together, and he gave it up and then came back and went to state 2 years in a row. And when he left St. Peter, he'd had 1 win his last season with John Curry. And he told me, geez, I became a much better coach after I sat out that amount of time. But he also had a lot of talent too. So he's going to step in a nice situation. They got
Very nice.
With Kirk off and the game coming back. So I don't think they'll miss a beat. John's a great guy. I'm supposed to know him. And he's probably the right decision for him to go with. So congratulations to him. And there was a rumor going around town that Clint Link was going to be the coach down there, and I heard that quite a bit. Yep. And I guess you can dispel that rumor right now. But I talked to Clint the other day, and understandably so, he's really down. But he's picked up an assistant job at Mankato State with Pam Gohl over there, and I think it's going to be working out real good for him. But as a person who went through, you know, you lose your job and then all of a sudden you're trying to work your way back into the coaching system, it's going to work out pretty well. But John, great decision.
John has of course, 8th grade daughter that played a lot this year. Also, he's kind of the second choice now, because they had named Brian Hansen, who was Mindy's #1 assistant last year, as the head job, and a couple weeks after that, Brian got a job in Mankato, so they went to John, and I don't think that's no slight to John at all. It just he'll be a great fit there.
Yep. I remember Waseca had a head boys coach for about 2 months, and then never ever coached 1 game. He went back over. But those things happen in coaching, especially at the high school level, when you got a lot of movement going on, people looking for different jobs and different situations. A lot of families now have to drive to different places. So mobile coaching today is kind of the way to go. But if you can find somebody in town, it really does help.
We want to, of course, give kudos to Sophie Tuttle and Josh Pedersen. They both qualified for the state golf tournament yesterday at Belle Plaine. The Blue Jay boys did not fare as well.
Took 3.
Took 3rd out of the 4 teams, and I see Fairmont shot another 310. They're just lights out this year, so I don't think that was going to happen for Nitsy's squad.
No, but the Pedersen brothers, it was really fitting that Josh has been going because he's a senior, and John was really disappointed, the junior brother. But he's got next year to look forward to. And I guess this playing course was really tough. They had it set up with the hole placements and things, and a lot of the teams are saying, we've never played a course this tough to go to state. Mankato East, I think, made it too in the area.
Mankato East girls.
Yeah.
Of course, the Fairmont boys had 3 kids shooting the 70s and the 4 shooting 80s, so